Everybody to the Bikeways and Trails Advisory Committee, October 19th, 3:30 p.m. Has everybody had a chance to look over last meeting's minutes? Do we have a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve. This is Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
I'll second.
Thanks, Walter. All right, great. Well, we'll get started with some unfinished business. If everybody can remember to submit their volunteer hours to Trina, so she has a record of that. We do that monthly. So Trina, is there anything you need from everybody? I guess you need that from all of us, correct?
Correct.
Volunteer, okay. And then COVID-19 mandatory training. I'll let you talk about that as well.
Okay, it looks like almost everybody has responded. So if you've watched the video and just forgot to send me an email, go ahead and just shoot me an email so I can document that and get that finalized. We do need 100% participation. So I'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the active transportation plan. Elaine, do you have a status on that for us?
Yes, that's still progressing nicely. I've been in regular correspondence with the consultant through, every week, regularly ongoing. The comments are still being implemented, and we've had to rewrite a piece of it, particularly working with Public Works, traffic engineering, and transportation to make sure that some of the recommendations are aligned with all their good work that they do in advocating and mandating for best practice for infrastructure improvement within the right of way. So that's really great. We're progressing along. I have another team meeting with them this week, and we're getting very close to a final draft document that we can, once I have that in hand, then I can reach out to the planning department and request again a planning commission schedule again for their recommended approval for adoption from city council. And then of course, city council agenda.
Well, good. I know
Thank you again for all your work.
Yeah,
everybody.
You've worked hard on that too. Thank you. And then the last thing on unfinished business was the bike to school inquiry. I don't know if y'all remember, but Carter Sinclair, Walter?
Yeah. Yeah, so I went ahead and worked, and Amy did as well on that. Amy, I didn't mean to cut you off. Why don't you fill in your piece, and then I'll fill some background I didn't get a chance to update you on.
Okay. So we exchanged some emails with Carter on the bike to school at Allenton, and I have a friend who is assistant principal there, so I went straight to them to see what the rules were for Allenton and what they told their parents, and they said that they are fine with children riding their bikes to school as long as they are accompanied by a parent, which I kind of agree with as an elementary school that doesn't have sidewalks all the way to the school. So she said that they do allow it. So that's where we left it with Carter, and he was going to send down that message to his daughter.
So the inquiry actually spawned something that I think is pretty exciting in the bigger picture for the city. Beyond the specific that Carter raised about one particular school, I went ahead and researched the policies for the entire school system. And then I got in touch with members of the school board about this. And what I learned is each school has a safe schools program that evaluates transportation alternatives within a certain radius around the school building. And for secondary schools, it's 1.5 miles. For elementary schools, it is 1 mile. And if safe pathways exist, then the children are allowed to use them to bicycle to get to schools within that area. And the school does not necessarily have to provide bus transportation. It's called an NTZ, non-transportation zone. What's interesting for us is they have convened Virginia Beach Police, traffic engineering, the schools folks, and done this analysis around every school in Virginia Beach, which means somebody has looked on ground level at sidewalks and lanes and everything else that we're concerned about and made evaluations on it. But we're not in possession of that data, but it exists. So what I've arranged here is an opening for our staff, Elaine, to get together with the Safe Schools folks at Virginia Beach Public Schools and access that data set. If you think about a 1.5 mile radius, so 3 mile diameter around a high school times 12 high schools, you're talking about a lot of square miles across our city that somebody has actually done a lot of groundwork on. And I think getting a hold of that data will help Elaine and others prioritize things that we talk about all the time, detecting areas where there are gaps in the network, where there are needed priorities. And it's not just for schools. If we fill in those gaps, those are areas that relate directly to residential neighborhoods because of where the schools are located. So I'm actually very grateful to Carter for raising the concern and leading us along the path to a data set we didn't know was necessarily out there. I don't know exactly what we'll find, but at least we've opened the door, and the school board members were very interested in that input as well. So we're all on the same page. Last point, with COVID impacting bus capacity for the schools, anything that can help them on a transportation viewpoint gives them more options on school decision making. When a bus can only hold half as many kids, if there's an alternative for some of them to get to school safely in another manner, that's of great interest to them. So it's a very timely inquiry right now. So that's what I have.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, if I may, thank you, Walter, for really doing all this work and research and connection, because that is one thing. I mean, you know, we're all working so hard individually and as staff, and but sometimes we don't know, the left hand may not know what the right hand's do. We don't know what different departments have. And our interface for Improved Facility we do collaborate, but it's really through, again, that Transportation Safety Improvement Program that I sort of regularly bring up, asking you guys to submit if you find any disconnection or need a crosswalk, or hey, we sure could use a path this, you know, half mile, whatever it is. And that's when generally we kind of get together, you know, stakeholders internally get together and bring these up, and where I might meet someone from schools who has highlighted a section that may be a gap. But that truly is where predominantly we interface. So this connection, what Walter's talking about, this is huge. This is opening this type of communication and collaboration is really would really change the dynamic of our neighborhoods, frankly, because obviously most of the schools are in neighborhoods and so many children do walk. And where our expertise being in active transportation and being able to recognize, gosh, if there's just this one little piece here, the radii could be connected versus disconnected just by something that maybe, again, schools is taking inventory, but we may be able to be a little more proactive on the planning side, and working together with them, this could really be something fantastic. So again, thank you, Walter, for pursuing that.
Elaine, if we don't have already a diplomat on this issue, I volunteer to step forward because I'm an educator and I've worked with high schools in the past, high schools. I think we're talking about more than that right here. But that there are many schools, and if you need some assistance with that, let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Back to you.
Okay, so reports. We're going to go through Bike to Work Day. I think we had a couple that rode their bikes to work. Our own Michael Kirschman did, right? And Carter, is Carter with us today? I don't know if he is.
I don't believe Carter's on. But yes, way to go, Michael.
Yeah.
Way to represent.
Yeah.
Did you have a good ride, Michael?
I did, and you'll be pleasantly surprised to hear that I rode my bike today as well.
All
right. I'm jealous.
Yeah. How far of a commute is it for you?
It's about a 2 mile straight shot.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
If those school kids can do it, so can you.
And then we have Bike Buddies dedication. Walter, did you want to speak about that? Speak to that?
Sure. I think Elaine and I will jointly pick this one up. This is so exciting. As you all may recall, in the spring, we were gearing up for a ribbon cutting to celebrate installation of the first 35 of these donor-sponsored bike racks. But with the pandemic, the factory shut down, and then we couldn't do gatherings, and everything got deferred. But installation is going on this week. And as part of that, Parks and Rec has scheduled a video shoot on Wednesday. We're still not allowed to do a full gathering with all the stakeholders who might be there. But in lieu of that, we didn't want to hold it up anymore. Going to create a professional, slick video that thanks the donors, explains the program, and that can then be posted out on the website as both an explanatory and a marketing tool. It's very exciting, but the big news is the product is finally going into the ground out there, and the donors will be able to see fulfillment on the pieces they've sponsored. Elaine, you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah, I just want to again thank the donors and the Virginia Beach Parks and Rec Foundation for this lift. I mean, we keep saying it's been about a year and a half. I think it's darn near close to 2 years that we started planning, and this all came about because we, there was an original discussion that I got a little bit of grant money to put some racks up by the bay because capital improvement programming dollars only go so far, and a lot of times I have to budget those to be as a 20% match for larger infrastructure projects so that we can get some more shared use paths and actual like mileage built. And so sometimes things such as bike repair stations and bike parking fall through the cracks. So this is a really fantastic thing that was brought up by membership. Hey, what if we all partner and this became sort of like a public-private, partnership to get infrastructure in the ground in a very fun and innovative way. It's more like whimsical art if they're not used as bike racks. So when they are, it's just a fun way for the community to, I guess, participate. And there's been countless hours behind the scenes with members of you all and staff, and just from master planning the locations to actually the marketing piece. Frankly, thank you, Walter, for your heavy lift, and for a lot of you who have, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention names of some donors or not, but some of you who are on membership and others who around the community who have donated to purchase these racks, and I'm able to put a plaque on there that means something special to you and that we can celebrate as a community. So really excited, and it's a master plan and locations that we really need them around the city. Predominantly, this phase one is in the resort area, as you all know, and our signature park, Mount Trashmore. And so we're just really excited to finally get this launched because we were so ready to go in the spring, well, as was the world with a lot of things. But here we are, and we thank you. We have not forgotten and in no way underappreciate your contribution. And we're just really excited to get this going and just, I guess, celebrate it.
Once the video is made, it'll go out to the whole membership of BTAC, so you'll be able to see what's being put out there as well.
Oh, good. And when is the video being shot? This week?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, Wednesday, with the rain date. So, we're going to try to get, we've got VBTV. We're going to try to get some filming, just so we can put this material together. It's a collaborative effort with the marketing, Parks and Rec marketing. So really appreciative of their involvement. And also Amy Woodson, you may remember, she was at one of our BTAC meetings before we were talking about Bike Month and the logistics of pulling off events. So it's just been a lot of Parks and Rec staff, and then of course Foundation, Walter, and just a lot of people. So that'll be this week, we hope, if the weather holds.
I was down there this weekend and they look great, and they were still putting them in today. So
no peeking, no peeking. These are the logistics of having those installed not too much in advance of this video has been tricky, but glad you appreciate that. Glad you're
they look good.
The result of
I think everyone will be pleased. Yeah.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you for stepping up.
All right, that's exciting. The next step is annual planning cycle, and Brian Hickman is the committee member that's kind of heading this up. I don't really know how much has been done on this. I haven't been involved in much of it, but Brian, is there anything to report on this?
Yeah, just a quick report, Amy. Met with Elaine today, and we have a starting, framework that we're going to hopefully present to the committee in November. So that's our plan right now.
Great, love it. And new business, we have, I know we have spoke about Bike Month, and every year we speak about this topic, and this year we started to work hard on it, but of course, COVID, that's the theme for 2020. So we're looking now through 2021, and I think Michael Kirschman spoke to us about how we need to start planning this, not that we need to, but that a lot of these type events, people start planning way far in advance. I know that for sure with a lot of our events that we plan at J&A Racing. So if we want to start up a subcommittee again, I know we started, Walter and I started a Google Doc last year to get at least a calendar together for what other, what bike shops are doing for Bike Month, and what events around the Hampton Roads area are happening. So we started that document, and we can revisit that. But I'd like to really get a subcommittee started on this. So didn't know if there was anybody that wanted to head up the subcommittee or assist with it beyond the subcommittee. But we do need something to start planning for May, because as you all know, well, hopefully it will be here before we know it.
Bike month is May.
It is May. It is the month of May.
I was down at Fat Frogs on Saturday and reminded them about that calendar, and they were so excited. The idea that they could populate their own calendar and we would pick it up in a master calendar of events, I think minimizes our administrative time, but leverages information of the public. So as one component, I think that's awesome what you started there, Amy. It's really going to let them do the work, but everybody benefit.
Right. Well, I think we can start, if everybody's okay with this, I can at least send out the Google Doc again to the group, and then we can kind of revisit that and add to that document, and we can at least start getting that updated. So that's our first step month. And next up for new business is the fiscal year 2019-2020 annual report to City Council. I'm assuming that's an Elaine thing.
Yes, I can speak to that. And actually, though, and then actually, we have had some inner workings conversations. Walter and I have, so I'd actually appreciate Walter if you chime in. But I'll open it up. In years past, committees and commissions are expected, is our obligation, and it is really a privilege to put together an annual report, submit to City Council of all the workings that this committee has done and all the progress and the vision, the prioritization of what we're doing for the city in active transportation. And it has been a lot. Now, as most of you know, I took over this position, oh my gosh, when was that? 2 years ago, over 2 years ago. And yeah, 2 years ago, August. And during that time, because as soon as I was in this position, I immediately really grabbed hold of the bikeways and trails plan and really we kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater and revamped this entire committee and mission into active transportation with this overhaul of this plan. And so we've been focusing on a lot of planning efforts. Between that and the build grant for the Virginia Beach Trail and other larger initiatives, we've had our hands full, and you guys have been great in advocating for that, participating in that process. So where we have not submitted an annual report in the last couple of years, we're getting back on track to do that. And so Walter, do you want to just take over? And I apologize, everyone.
Sure. Elaine's coming off of a cold here.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
here's where we'd like to propose picking up on it, that we would have come in for the end of June, at the end of the city's fiscal year, and submitted a report shortly after covering July of 2019 through June of 2020. We're a little COVID delayed here, but there's no reason we can't do that. And I think there are at least 5 main points to cover in that 12-month period, but the committee should submit anything else that comes to your mind. The 5 major things that I'm aware of is the build grant and fleshing out the Virginia Beach Trail was what we began coming into the year on. That was active June, July 2019, and so on. The Bike Buddies program was something that carried us into the fall. The Sea Level Wise Adaptation Project and all the comments and long-term planning took us into February. Planning for Bike Month and concurrently the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, although neither of those came to pass because of COVID, we put a lot of time into working through that, and we're going to pick up those pieces and use them in the coming year. And then the 5th thing was the active transportation plan, which isn't quite finished, but we just recently went through all of that work that Elaine had done. Those are 5 things I'm aware of to report on for that period, but certainly look for anything that we've overlooked that needs to also go in the report.
And to that point, I really applaud you all for, I guess, really stepping it up and getting involved and making this more of a collaborative effort, because this is a heavy lift. We've got quite a few robust accomplishments here, things that are underway, have come to fruition, or that are, within our sights for long-term master planning, which will prioritize the future. This active transportation plan, for example, is a 5, a 10, a 15-year plan. It's long, short, and it needs to be updated every 5 years and revamped every 10. So our going through all these processes and a lot of these things, including, look at a wide variety. Look what you all have done. You've gone from public-private, infrastructure. You completely promoted the Virginia Beach Trail, which would be, completely changing the dynamic of our city. And we're master planning some large scale documents, which are components of the comprehensive plan for the city. So, well done. We've got a lot to report, a lot to say. And so we're, anxious to get that underway and draft an annual report to council.
And of course, that's not to short the other things that we take for granted, the additional mileage added to the trail network through various grant programs, public works efforts, our own recommendations. Those have to be reported out too. We just sort of assume that, but that's exciting to show how the mileage in the network has grown. And there are other normal aspects to the report that you would see. Elaine, is it reasonable to say that we might get a draft out by next meeting, and then the committee could review that and, fill it in? In other words, if I draft something, would you be able to review that?
Now you're talking. Absolutely.
All right, good. I'll take a first stab at it, but really looking for the whole committee's input.
Thanks,
Thank
Walter.
you.
All right, and I guess we wanted to revisit the mission statement for Bike and Trails. Did you want me to read it to everybody?
Well, if I may open up,
Yes.
This is really something that we had discussed internally, leadership, meaning Amy and Walter, at the beginning of 2020, as part, again, of, I guess, evolving into this growing active transportation network and all the good work of advocacy that you all do, that I do, that we do collectively. And as part of this mission statement for BTAC, BTAC's been around for quite a few years. It's obviously, as you know, a city council appointed committee. Now, but this mission statement was drafted in the earlier 2000s. So it's time, along with revamping the Bikeways and Trails plan, to take a look at the mission statement, make sure that it is reflective of what this committee represents, and frankly, where transportation is today. And a lot has changed over the last decade or so. So it is worth looking at. This is really more of a heads up. So yes, Amy, if you want to read the mission statement, and then if we could just begin the process, knowing that this is a good point of dialogue. Now, I don't think we can change the mission statement just because we feel like it. This will have to be, there's a process to that, but I just wanted to open it up that way. Thank you.
Our mission statement is to advise City Council and work with city agencies on the implementation of the Bikeways and Trails Plan. The committee works to establish improved connectivity between communities and to promote trail projects throughout the city so that all Virginia Beach residents and visitors benefit from pedestrian systems, trails, bicycle on, off-road paths, and facilities. I think that pretty much covers it, everybody. All right, are there any comments from the chair? No questions? Sorry.
Amy, I think one of the things, I'm a newer appointee to the committee, although I've been attending the meetings a long time. I've never really taken a look at what some of our sister cities have on their committees. And I would just be curious to take a quick look, and I'm willing to do the work to see what goes on at our adjacent cities. Do they have the same type of scope? Do they have a broader scope or something we might be overlooking? And I'm happy to dig that up if you think that might have merit.
I think that's good. I don't know, Elaine, do you know if our sister cities have anything like this? I think some of it's private, but.
I'm sure there are comps nationwide. And I think that that's a great place to start. Although I would like to, I guess, request that although this is on as a new business item, I think it's a little premature. I think first we do need to get through the active transportation plan. And once that is officially adopted and approved, again, it sounds logistical, but it's the Bikeways and Trails Advisory Committee. That's very different than, I mean, than a lot of what's in the active transportation plan, creating a network of transportation throughout the city. It's almost the 2.0 of Bikeways and Trails. So this may affect how you all see yourself, how you're representing yourself as a city, how we're growing a network of transportation, how you're advocating the active transportation plan. And you may, after this is adopted and you really digest what you have contributed to that plan and what you are really, I guess, what you've signed up to advocate for, then you may want to revisit the mission statement. You may want to take it back to council and update your committee name. You might want to be an active transportation commission. I mean, I don't know. That's really that's for the future. That's for you all to have these discussions. But I don't think any action needs to be taken or can be taken at this time on the BTAC mission statement. But I didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle, because along with the updating of the comp plan, along with reporting to annual council and what the priorities are for this even upcoming fiscal year, along with analyzing the active transportation and how that rubs up against bikeways and trails, and that your mission statement and who you all are comes into play. Does that make sense? I mean, no action at this time. I think that, so, I mean, there's a lot to be done. I would say certainly let's focus on the annual report first. That's enough to chew on for the next month or so. And a reminder, we have a meeting in November and December. No, I'm sorry, in November. We do not meet in December, and then we meet again in January. So it might be the time by January, let's say, to take a harder look at this.
That's good.
Thank you.
So we'll table it to January.
Sounds good. 2021. Can't get here quick enough. All right. Well, if there are no more comments from the chair, the next meeting we're going to have, and we're going to do this via WebEx, Elaine, again. So we'll send the link again. It's Monday, November 16th, 2020 at 3:30 p.m. And if anybody if we don't have anything else, then this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Fine. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.
Well done, everyone. Thank you, Walter and Trina, for presenting.